other. And if you're seeing this by video, you can guess where we are. All those books we're looking at. We're in a bookstore. And I'm so excited. So I'm going to start with, I have two people here, and I'm going to read their bios. First, we're going to start with Karen Dial. And Karen Dial, Westchester, California, Colorado. Westchester, California is my hometown, and I love this community with my whole heart. I went to school here, met my husband of 47 years plus here, and watched my granddaughter, Ella Drollinger. Is that how you pronounce it, Karen? Drollinger?
Uh, uh, yes, but I don't have a granddaughter, so I don't know. So sorry.
It
I
says
am the
granddaughter.
granddaughter.
Do you mean my
I
daughter?
am the granddaughter. I'm the granddaughter of Ella Drollinger.
Plus here and
I think
watched my
that's maybe what it.
granddaughter. So it must be, oh,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I
It
don't
doesn't
have a
say daughter.
granddaughter
It says
yet.
grandmother. I'm going to start over. Start recording. We're here. We need each other. Another episode in a bookstore. The Book Jewel. I'm so excited to be here because I'm so happy the bookstores are back. We have two people with us. We have Karen Dial, who is the owner, and Sean Moore, who is the manager of the Book Jewel. So let me start with reading Karen's bio. Westchester, California is my hometown, and I love this community with my whole heart. I went to school here, met my husband of 47 plus years here, and watched my grandmother, Ella Drollinger, and parents, Jewel and Howard Drollinger, build their lives and careers here. My grandmother built the first commercial business in Westchester in 1943 because she believed it would one day become a community, although at the time it was wheat, bean, and barley fields next to a small airport called Mines Field. My mom and dad, Jewel and Howard, were guiding forces in the development of Westchester during their lives, both through business, Drollinger Properties, and their community involvement in the YMCA, Rotary, Flight Path, Aero Club, and the Chamber of Commerce, just to name a few. I was provided the opportunity to learn the business by serving on the Drollinger Properties Board of Directors starting in 1997. But the real learning came when I began working with my dad in 2004, and then, following his passing, I became president in 2006. I knew from the very beginning this was what I wanted to do with the next phase of my life. As I learned the business and became reacquainted with my hometown, I realized that I wanted to bring a bookstore to Westchester. Unable to lure an existing bookstore, I decided to open one of my own. To me, a bookstore is the heart of a community, a gathering place for learning, camaraderie, dreaming, empathy, and acceptance. I absolutely love that. Yes, I agree with you, Karen. And Sean Moore's bio. I grew up in Long Beach, California, where I cultivated my lifelong love of books and dreamed of owning an independent bookstore in my hometown. In 2010, I realized this dream when Gatsby Books opened its doors in August of that year. Gatsby stands as a pillar of the Long Beach community, providing a space for writers, artists, and readers of all kinds to connect and share their passions. Prior to the pandemic, Gatsby was hosting a plethora of events, including poetry readings, short story contests, and live music in the store. Nicknamed the literary heart of Long Beach. Our store has grown with its community through a difficult year and come out stronger from it. Last year, I was privileged to have been hand chosen by Karen Dial to manage the Book Jewel and help make her dream of having an independent bookstore in her hometown of Westchester come true. Karen is a staple of our community, and working with her has been a truly wonderful experience. Her determination and commitment to her community is commendable and emblematic of her upstanding character. Our vision is clear. We want the Book Jewel to be the best independent bookstore in Los Angeles and a place that celebrates the inclusive spirit of Westchester, where creative minds of all ages, shapes, and forms can flourish. You can see this transformation take place every month at our outdoor poetry events that have brought us together in a year that has often felt too isolating. spending my days at the Book Jewel with my Westchester family, including, yes, our adorable store cat Pages. Pages is adorable, fills my heart with joy. So, welcome, Karen, and welcome, Sean. I'm so excited to have you here on We Need Each Other because you got something that I need. I know that we need. I
Thank
This
you.
all came about for me because there's a Thai restaurant near your bookstore that I would go to
Yeah.
often during pandemic because they had this amazing curbside pickup. It was so easy. And one day I
Hmm.
went, the Book Jewel? Is that a bookstore? There's a bookstore opening? And I this is the honest to God truth. I sat in the parking lot
Uh-huh.
and shed tears because I love bookstores and I think I'm not the only one who thought bookstores were going away. They were disappearing. Bookstores were closing down, and I'm just so excited that you're here. So, how do you two know each other?
Well,
Uh, well,
please go ahead.
uh, yeah, well, um, like you mentioned, Francesco, we were um, we were opening an indie bookstore, which means that we needed to find a well-established and sage manager to run the
Mm-hmm.
show,
Mm-hmm.
and someone who has had years of experience. And we pride ourselves on customer service, so this person needed to have a vibrant personality as well as a background in curating a huge array of books.
Mm-hmm.
So we found
Hmm.
Sean through a series of people that introduced us.
Mm-hmm.
And through the path of about 4 years, he hung tight with us while we
Oh.
went through the purchasing of the building and then the getting the decorations and agreeing on all of the bookshelves. And we picked, Sean and I were able to hand pick everything ourselves. And so that
Mm-hmm.
was a wonderful process. And, he's just turned out to be exactly the person that we need here in Westchester because he's super community oriented and he's so knowledgeable. That is the other thing we needed. So
Mm-hmm.
we became really good
Yeah.
friends.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. You have
I
something to add
actually,
to that,
that's
Sean?
kind of,
Mm-hmm.
I do. Where you ended is actually where it began. Is I think we were very good friends right from the get go, and I love people that love books
Yeah.
and bookstores. And I always had done things on my own without really partners. But when I met Karen and I met the rest of her Drollinger family, I thought these are people that I could work with to create something better than I could ever do on my own. And I
Mm.
feel, I do feel privileged to be here and to be working in this great community. And I really do think we've achieved our goal of making the best bookstore here in Los
Mm-hmm.
Angeles.
Mm-hmm. Your store, the Book Jewel is in Westchester, California. If you live here, it is beautiful, and it is an experience. You know, I, I'm going to back up a little bit more about the story because Karen and I have a common friend, Liza Wicker. Liza and I were talking about the store, and I know the owner. I was like, oh my God, I need her on the podcast because I want to talk about it. Because when I saw your bookstore opening in this pandemic, which was, we were in the early phases of it, and it was so devastating for everyone, the isolation and
Right.
the whole energy of it, it made me think something normal is returning. There's something I can count on. There's something happening that I need to know that this is happening. It just gave me a real sense of comfort. Then I didn't go in that day, but I went in shortly
Hmm.
thereafter, and what a welcoming experience. What a beautiful store. And Pages is amazing. The cat.
Yep.
I love
Thank you.
Pages. And Sean wasn't there the day that I came. There were two gentlemen in the store, and I don't remember their names, but they were wonderful. So
Yes.
go to the Book Jewel. So I do want to
We have a
ask, you opened.
fabulous staff.
Yes, apparently you do. Yes. And
Yep.
We
in this day and age where everybody's short staffed and having a hard time finding people, that says a lot about you. It does that you've
It
drawn
does.
that to you.
Yep.
thank
It
you.
says a lot. So you opened the book Jewel during a global pandemic. Tell me what that was like.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I think that Karen is absolutely a very, very brave person and a very
Mm,
hopeful person because at a time in which everyone was really discouraged, didn't know what was going to happen, we are going to go forward with this dream. We're going to do it for the community and we're going to open up at a time when other places are closing. And I just thought
mm,
that's community spirit that you know, you can't buy that community spirit. That's so powerful.
mm-hmm. Karen, what do you want to add to that? Because I know you got some stories.
Well, yes, we vacillated, Sean and I, and the building was ready. We had already all the interior was finished. We had to store the bookshelves for months on end in Nashville, Tennessee, and we finally just said, you know what? I think we should just take the leap of faith and get the bookshelves in here and get them filled and then open the
Mm-hmm.
store. So
Hmm.
we
Mm.
opened the store last year on July 29th,
July
August
29th.
29th, excuse me, August
August.
29th,
Oh, okay. So
2020.
you just had your
And
anniversary.
it was just it was yes, we just had our first anniversary, but we are just so grateful we did. And in February this year, we decided to have an open mic series once a
Ah,
month,
ah,
outdoors, under a
ah,
tent, in the
ah.
sunshine. And people knew it was going to be a teeny bit chilly, but it the crowds of people that came out were just really heartwarming. So
Is
we're
that
we're
something
really
that's
glad we opened
continuing?
when we did.
Is the open mic
Yes.
continuing?
Yes.
And it's when is it?
Yep. We
Mhm.
How often?
well, it changes from time. Every
Okay.
month there's at least one open mic. We have a couple book clubs that meet every month. We have lots of authors that come through the store, and we do children's story time 3 times a month
Mm.
on Sundays, first, third, and fifth Sundays of the month. We do a lot of really cool programmatic things here that just give
I
people a reason
apparently
to stop by the bookstore.
I apparently need to be on your email list so that I know about all these things that are
Oh,
happening.
sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I have to
Yeah.
do that.
There's a lot
Yes.
going on.
Yes, it sounds like it. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you opened during the
Yeah.
pandemic, but you also opened during an intense racial divide, which seems to be continuing.
Hmm.
And I wonder how
Hmm.
that has affected your business and your personal lives.
Well, one of the things that I intensely believe is that books bring people together, and our
Mm.
store is just one of the most diversely, like, the shelves are so packed with really great
Yes, that's
literature
true.
from
Mm-hmm.
all walks of life, all different
Mm-hmm.
cultures. And I just feel like a bookstore is a place of conversation. It's a meeting place. It's sort of like a second living room for the community. And we have a
Mm-hmm.
really great, strong neighborhood community here. We get such
Mm-hmm.
support just from the people that live here, and this is a very diverse population, and we just love it being here.
Anything to add to that, Karen? How has the
Well, just to
mhm.
say that one of our nearby sister cities is Inglewood, and another one is El Segundo, and we are right next door to Playa del Rey, and then Playa Vista is down the hill from us, and the marina's close by. So we draw from all of these communities, but also people from Torrance and
Mm,
the beach community, Hawthorne. People are coming and finally finding us. So we feel
mm,
that well, one of our, you know, our inclusivity uh, areas is just that we welcome everyone,
mhm,
every color, every ethnicity. Anybody
mhm,
is welcome to come into this store and browse around and ask for help. We have a well seasoned staff that is welcoming, warming, and can answer questions easily. And if you don't find the book that you want, we'll order it for you and call you when it comes in. So
Mm.
it's a pretty special place.
Have your personal lives been affected by this racial divide? I want to call it this racial awareness, this racial whatever word we use. Have you been affected personally?
Well, there's sort of the human toll of turning on the news every night and finding that our country has got more and more divides, more and more anger, more and more distrust, and it hurts my heart, and it makes me sad for the direction the country takes sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that we can, build back better. I really do believe that we can through patience and listening to each other and talking to each other. We can be a little bit more cohesive, a little bit more understanding, and just be better people. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the personal
Mm-hmm.
side of it. And I don't know if I express it that well, but
No,
that's kind of what I
that's
feel is that,
wonderful.
that we need to do better.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Nance? And what about you, Karen?
I think that we all need to listen more and talk less, and put ourselves in other people's shoes, and be more kind to one another, wherever
Mm-hmm.
you are, whether it's a restaurant or just walking down the street. I actually have tried to do something different for the past couple of years, well before COVID, but just to say hello to people when you're walking on the sidewalk or walking in a parking lot, saying
Mm-hmm.
hello, it kind of, brings a smile to somebody's face.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had a mural made here in Westchester that the words, it's a gigantic mural, and it says, "You are beautiful." And people that look at that say, "Wow, are they talking to me?" Yes,
Ah,
we're
yeah,
talking to everybody
yeah.
because
Mhm.
everybody has a modicum of beautifulness inside of them.
Mm. So you're doing those little things to help to wake people up, to bring them back present. Yes,
Definitely.
that's beautiful.
Mhm.
What is the
Definitely.
diversity, the ethnicity, the diversity breakdown of Westchester specifically? Because I really honestly don't know.
Go ahead, Sean.
I'm pretty sure that it's 50% non-Caucasian and 50% Caucasian. It's really
Mm, mm,
pretty down the middle.
mm-hmm.
Hmm.
When you
But I'm
have
not,
a, mhm, yeah,
don't know the
we don't
demographics
know the exact
perfectly.
statistics.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah,
You mentioned Inglewood. I live in Inglewood, and I'm in
mhm,
Westchester pretty much every day
sure.
for something or other, you know.
Hmm.
And I do see all kinds of people when I'm
Yeah,
there. Um,
you know,
and hmm
something else that's kind of special is that we're so close to LAX that we have a lot of
yes,
international visitors. And
yes,
so in our store on a Saturday morning, you'll hear a group of people come in speaking Swedish or
mm,
it's just, or Chinese tourists will come in.
mm,
And
mm,
it's great because we are so close to an international airport. And so Westchester is a place that draws people, as Karen mentioned earlier, not just from our neighboring communities, but really from all over the world. And we are
mm-hmm.
the closest independent bookstore to LAX. So
Yes,
I
that's
think
true. That's
we
right.
get people that come in looking for a book before they go to the airport. So
Mm, mm, mm.
Right.
Do you do things specifically in the store that draws other cultures in?
absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
we've we have things like of African American History Month, which we brought in a bunch of different authors and we did poetry celebrating African American history. We've done the same thing with Filipino dance troupe and Irish
Mm,
dance troupe.
mm,
We constantly find things that we can do to bring in different voices and different perspectives to the store. Right now, we're celebrating Latin Heritage Month, and we're doing it
Yes.
by, we had two poets here on Saturday that were basically speaking about their experience through their words, like stand-up poetry, and just telling it as it
Mm,
is. And so that's the
mm,
type of thing that we look for, is we look for just diverse voices and people that have something really important for them to say, because
mhm.
we're basically a soapbox. We're a place for
Yeah.
someone to have their voice heard.
Is that, go ahead, Karen. Were you going to say something?
Don't know. That's okay. I love the soapbox.
Yeah, I know,
That
right?
is so
Yeah,
true, Sean.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that you described, is that unique to a bookstore, that they do all those various kinds of things, saluting different cultures and drawing in different
Yeah,
cultures? Is that unique?
yeah. You know, it depends on the store. There's plenty of stores that take the role that we do of being sort of a community champion. And then there's other stores that maybe because of space limitations, they just concentrate on selling books. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
all the types of bookstores are necessary and important and serve a good role in our society. We just have the benefit of having a little bit of room in our store, and
Mm-hmm.
just having the just desire to just want to create this experience that when you come into the
Mm-hmm.
store to get a gift for someone or a book for yourself, you might walk in on a poetry reading, or you might walk in on an author, this local author talking about the history of their family in Westchester, or things like that. We love creating these sort of like accidental experiences and just fun things happening at the store, because I guess one of our feelings is that if we aren't doing something in the space that's engaging the community, then we may as well just be
Mm-hmm.
selling books online. You know, we just
Yes,
sell a
right.
product
Yes.
and don't have an experience or a community space. But since we have a community space, we are definitely going to use it as much as we can and get as many people through here as
Mm-hmm.
possible,
Hmm.
and just have a great time doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I asked that question because I'm a lover of books. I loved bookstores
Hmm.
for many, 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 many years, and it's unique from what I'm from my experience. It's either you go into a place like there was, I don't know if you're familiar in Denver, Colorado. There's the tatted cover. I don't know if you have any familiarity with it
Oh,
at
I
yeah.
all, but the
I'm
tattered
familiar
cover
with it, but I
is an
haven't had a chance to
amazing.
visit.
Well, it's an amazing
Yeah.
store.
Hmm.
When my children thought I was crazy. We moved to Denver when they were young. They're in their 30s now. And I said, we're moving because they have a 5-story bookstore here, you know? And it was a wonderful place. But
Yeah.
I don't think it did what you described as far as drawing people from different cultures into the store. I,
Mhm.
I, I never felt that there was a specific effort to
Mhm.
do that. And then we have stores like SOM Bookstore, which is a black bookstore,
Mhm.
but it really is a black culture bookstore. It's not an attempt to draw other. So that's the reason I asked that question, because
Yeah.
it's one of the things I love
Sure.
that you're doing is
Mhm.
it's about community, and Lord knows right now we need that feeling.
Mhm.
We
Hmm.
It's something that's
Sure.
really
Hmm.
missing, that is needed. So I'm so grateful
Yeah.
that
We need
that you're
to
doing.
And
embrace. Right.
I was going to say, both of the bookstores you mentioned are really nationally known. SO1
Mm-hmm.
Bookstore is known among book lovers all across the country as one of the
Mm-hmm.
premier bookstores in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And Tattered Cover, I've never visited it myself, but I know a lot about them from reading
Mm-hmm.
about them in magazine articles and just studying what they do and seeing their online presence. And so every store has its own personality, and it
Yes,
has its
exactly.
own like story and the thing that it needs, the story it needs to tell. And so
Right.
we feel in Westchester, a story we need to tell is one of community, especially, as you said, in the time we're in now. We need
Mm-hmm.
to create as much community as possible. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
our story will change over the years. But right
True.
now, our story is community and
Mm-hmm.
books and gifts and a cat.
Yeah, I had a
So,
cat. Where
yeah,
is Pages?
she's
Doing
usually
her
sleeping.
thing.
Usually
Yeah,
sleeping about this.
right.
Yeah, she does a fair amount of cat napping.
Right.
Yeah. So
So, what future plans do you have? Do you have some new things up your sleeve that we could be looking forward to?
Oh gosh. Well, um, one of the things we did that was really successful in the month of June for LGBTQ month is we had a drag show with an author and a poet here in the bookstore, and so we're
Mm-hmm.
doing that again in October. So
Ah,
that's something that you don't usually associate with a bookstore. Is just a fun event that's just
nice.
basically lip syncing and dancing and comedy, and all in good fun and a family show at that.
I
So we're
love
doing that
it.
later on in the month,
Right.
and
Yeah.
we're also doing a scary story contest. That's for ages, I think, like under 5. Just draw a picture, up to I think adult, and
Ah,
we'll have a big celebration, at the end of the month, where we'll have the winners come in and read their stories, and we'll make a big party out of it, and there'll be
ooh,
prizes, for the people that participate, and so
Right.
we just like creating a show, having something to do.
yeah. Anything else that you have up your sleeve, Karen, that we don't know about?
Uh, no, Sean hit the two that are coming up for October. We'll have
Oh,
more.
I know one for
Uh,
next year though. The Can we tell them about the surprise? Our new neighbor.
Oh,
oh,
yes,
yes, that's for
please.
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Our daughter, my husband and I, our daughter Natalie, and her fiance will be opening a restaurant next year. So that'll be
Ah,
right next door. And on the second floor of the building will be an event space so we can
hmm.
have larger author readings and poetry readings, things that draw a lot of people that wouldn't be able to necessarily fit in our smaller space here at the Book Jewel. And then there'll be a rooftop deck for eating. So
Ooh, when
that
is
we
this
have to look
happening?
forward to next year.
Next year in
Oh,
2022.
we're from maybe August.
22.
Yeah,
Okay. For
maybe
my
August
birthday.
22.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
great.
when is your
Okay,
birthday?
wonderful.
My
Hopefully it's
birthday is
here in
August
time.
16th.
I think we
All right, well,
will
we might
aim
make
for
it.
it. We'll aim
Okay.
for it.
Good place to
And
celebrate.
if we can't have a birthday party on a rooftop deck, then we'll at least do something in the store. Okay.
Okay. All right. I love it.
I'm going to
Absolutely.
put it on my events calendar. Francesca's birthday.
Okay. Okay.
Right,
What kind of
right.
Yeah.
food will Natalie, you said? Natalie is your daughter's name?
Yeah.
Natalie?
Uh-huh. They'll
What
be
kind of food will
making
she be serving?
a very healthy fare. I don't think they'll have any specific kind of food,
Mm-hmm.
but it will be very vegetable heavy and
Mm-hmm.
super tasty with fresh herbs and a seasonal flair. And we'll just see. It's a surprise to whatever it is.
Okay.
It's going to be fantastic.
So since I live
A
here and I
lot of
know the
homemade
area,
everything.
where next door will that be? I mean, like, what's there now where that restaurant will be?
It's under construction.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
space that's it's in our build. It's the bookstore. Is 3,000 square feet, and then right next door, there's a connected to the building, is a restaurant that's under construction right now,
Okay. Okay. I have to pay closer attention. All right.
just to the north of the Book Jewel. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
just
Very
around,
good.
like just peek around the corner, and it's right
Yes,
there.
I will for sure. Absolutely. Because I'm looking forward. I mean, I have not come back since pandemic, but I was doing a lot of outdoor event. I mean, not in person event
Mm.
uh, things for the community. And what kind of numbers would you accommodate at your event space? I'm curious. Like you said, a larger area.
Well, well, if you want a table event, it'll seat 50. But
Mm-hmm.
if you want to set up a bunch of folding chairs, it would be at least 100, if not more.
Okay, that's
Right,
great.
Sean?
That's good for people to know
It's a
because
2,000 square foot space.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
that's
For
beautiful.
events. Mm-hmm. We'll be
I will,
advertising as soon as we can.
and I will absolutely be keeping that in mind for sure,
Mhm.
because I love
Yes,
doing events in
Great.
person. You know, it came on Zoom, and
me too.
Yes.
I'm tired of Zoom. Like I want to be around
Oh,
people.
yeah. I know. We want to be in
Uh,
person.
so, what else can you tell us that we need to know about you and about the book jewel? Is there anything else that we need to know?
Hmm.
How so you've managed to survive some really difficult times.
Yes.
What did you do?
Yes. Hmm.
Was it just your consciousness, your belief? What did you do to survive these difficult times that many small independent places have not survived, and here you opened up and you're thriving. So,
Yep.
what's your
Yep.
secret?
Well, we are very penny conscious. We have a small staff that's extremely dedicated, and we all sort of take care of each other. And if a person needs to be out, another person will step up and cover for them. And so we just do as much as we can just to kind of like keep the ship facing in the right direction and
Mm-hmm.
going steadily and slowly towards the good. So
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what's your
For sure.
because people and I say your consciousness meaning your way of thinking because a lot of
mhm.
I would imagine many businesses that failed because they believed they were going to failed because they were in
Oh, that's
Oh,
fear.
sure. Yeah.
sure.
You know,
Hmm.
you stepped forward
Mm-hmm.
in a difficult time, probably having some trepidation and fear, but but what
Sure.
what do you hold on to? I guess I always say, what's your superpower? What is the
Oh, okay.
thing that
Well,
that allowed you to move forward bravely?
yeah.
This is a brave move, you know.
Well, we,
Hmm.
you know, coming back to Westchester and noticing there wasn't an indie bookstore, that I just said that's no good. So when you have this close knit community like Westchester, we sort of take care of one another.
Mm,
A lot of us serve on boards together. Our kids go to school together. The kids I went to Westchester High with, they live in their parents' homes, or their
mm,
parents still live in those homes. They're still living in well into their 90s. So we're a true community, from what I describe as a community where a lot of people know each other, shop locally, whenever possible. And we don't have any competition. There's no other bookstore here, and it just lends itself to shop small, shop local. And so
mm-hmm.
I really had no qualms or you know negativity associated with the fact that we took this leap of faith in a crazy time of a pandemic and just made it happen. There is just no
Mm-hmm.
doubt about it that this place is going to be successful, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, and that's what
You know,
matters.
Yeah,
It's the thing that you believe because we believe things our lives out picture according to what we believe, and so you believe that, Sean believes that, I believe that
right.
with you. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I want to
here we
add one
go.
thing. Well, this is one of the things I love about Karen is that she increases joy wherever she goes. And
Mm,
so we were at this little function thing over the weekend, and there was one person on the dance floor. And Karen saw that and she said, that's not going to do. So she
not
got up on the
okay.
dance floor and started dancing. She started dancing, and then I said, "Hey, Karen's dancing." So I got up and started dancing, and pretty soon, this is what happens. We have a dance
Exactly.
floor full of people. And
Yeah.
the same sort of like joy of just like being alive and wanting to share good experiences with other people,
Mm,
it works in
mm,
a bookstore too. So I
mm-hmm.
say to anyone that wants to start something, start it now and just step out on the dance floor and go for it. Boogie woogie.
Step out on the
Yep.
dance floor. I love that. That's great.
Very
I've got some
Yeah,
good,
good
Sean.
sayings from you,
That's
Sean.
really good.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love it.
Mm,
So, I will be. I have to bring my grandson to your store. My grandson.
Mhm.
Okay, what's your suggestion here? He's 10 years old, about to be
Okay.
11. He'll be 11 in October, and he's an athlete. He's all about sports. You
Okay.
know, he doesn't care about reading. He reads what he's interested in, and that's mostly sports. And we
Yeah.
used to reading was our thing when he was younger,
it's okay.
but now
Sure.
he's a preteen. So how do you get
Yeah.
that age? How do you reel them in? Or do you have any suggestions?
Well, of course, we do have books on sort of sports, and
Yes,
so I always say let a child or a young man or a young adult read what they want to read,
yes,
and if it's only books about one subject, let them read every book they can on the one subject.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so I generally believe in letting children and young people and even adults just follow their interests and see where it takes them.
Mm-hmm.
But our store is just so full of cool things that I would just maybe
Bring him
give
in.
them a gift card and give them a gift card and say, we're going to go to the book jewel after Ayara Tai, and I want you to pick something out. You pick out anything you want, and
Mm-hmm.
then let him shop, and he will
Yes.
he will find something. Just create the opportunity.
I'm going to do
That's
exactly that.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Because
that's what I do with my daughter. I try to create
yes,
opportunities for her and just let her
yeah,
let her lead because she's better at it than I am.
yes,
You know.
exactly. I
Right.
just, reading is fundamental. Reading is so important. You
True.
go on such
Right.
adventures. I had a daughter. His mother actually, when she was a little girl, she didn't like reading, um, and I would try everything. I try all these, and when she discovered poetry, that was it for her.
Hmm.
She just loved
Wow.
poetry. And that's when she started really engaging about reading, you know. So
Hmm.
I do
Wow.
intend to bring Joey into your
Very
bookstore
cool.
um,
Mm-hmm.
soon. Maybe this week. Who knows? I'll have him on
Okay.
Wednesday, tomorrow. So
Sure.
I'm going to bring him in
All
and,
right.
and, and see what happens.
Well,
Yes.
I know Karen and I both will be here tomorrow, at
You
least
will?
through the afternoon.
Oh, that
Yes,
would be great
I'm
because
going
I'd
to be
love
here
to meet
till
you in
I'm going to be
person.
here from 10 to 2. 10 to 2, I'm going to be here, and I know
Okay.
Karen's going to be dropping by for a little while during those hours also.
All
So
right.
it'd be really delightful to meet you in person.
Okay. I hope we can make that happen.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it has
Good.
been a delight to have you. It makes my heart go pitter patter. It really does.
Mm.
And I've seen some other independent stores opening up around, like there's one in
Hmm.
Culver
That's
City
true.
and different places.
Hmm.
So it gives me such hope,
Mm-hmm.
and particularly
Yes.
with a store like yours that is intending to draw community together, because we've been so pushed apart,
Mm-hmm.
so pulled apart. And what you're doing, I am
Right.
very excited about and want to assist in any way I can and participate. So I am going to get on your email list because I want to know all these amazing things that
Okay.
are happening. So I'll stop by
Yeah.
and get myself on your list.
Okay.
Very good.
All right.
All right.
Well, we
Sounds
look
great.
forward
Any
to it.
final words from either of you? Yes.
No,
Final
no.
words?
I really enjoyed spending some time together. Thank you.
Just spread the word.
Yes.
Yes,
Absolutely
that's
spread the
really
word.
lovely.
Absolutely spread the word.
Yes.
And I can't wait till that roof space and the restaurant open. I'm just seeing that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
All right.
it's going to be lovely.
I'm
Thank
sure it
you.
is because the bookstore is absolutely lovely. The Book Jewel in Westchester,
Thanks.
California. All right. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Thanks, Francesca.